All right, is there a countdown? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Let's see. All right, everybody, if you're joining us on Facebook, this is the first time we were able to use our new technology on Facebook Live with both Phil and myself.
And I'm a robot.
So if you're joining us here on Facebook Live, go ahead and, pardon me 1 second.
Someone talking to us?
That's me talking to myself here.
Oh.
We're on a little bit of a lag, which is why that did that. So again, if you are joining us, give us a like here and let us know where you're from when you're taking the exam. We'll wait a second to see if anybody here is going to join us. There's 4 days left in the testing window, and we wanted to come here live just to see if there were any questions that we could answer. We have a couple that people have asked us over the last couple days that we wanted to share with you. So again, if you're joining us live, it looks like we have a couple folks joining us. Let us know where you're from, what sections of the exam you're studying for right now. And we'll wait and see here.
We actually have a couple of people watching already?
Yeah, so go ahead and let us know where you're from, what parts of the exam you are taking, if you're sitting for the exam here in Q1. And then as you put your comments here in the Facebook comments, Phil and I are going to talk a little bit about some of the questions that we've been getting. The first of which is a little bit about the blueprints. We say it a lot here on Facebook Live, but it seems to be something that people are still a bit confused about. So Phil, what do you see the purpose of the blueprints meaning?
Well, the blueprints are exactly what I had said before. They're the maps. They're the maps. And your destination is a successful passing of the CPA exam. So they're giving you the map you need to follow in each part, all right, each topic, all right, to successfully pass. For example, they give you blueprints for financial accounting. So you follow them, and they're not going to ask you any more or anything less. I've told you that. And if you know those, all right, then you'll pass the financial. You shouldn't be any reason why. And I'll tell you why. They do pass a certain percentage. And usually it's based on who does better than the other people. That's really what it comes down to. Well, Megan and I listened to a webinar, and what did the AICPA say as far as how many people what percentage of the candidates don't even know about the blueprints?
I would say it was almost over, I think they said 60% of the people that attended, it was over half that hadn't really heard of them. And I think that it's our duty to kind of tell people, hey, this is something that's out there. It's free. And I've always thought, if you're in a college class, your professor hands you a study guide for the exam. It has topics and areas that you should be listening to or looking at, reading about to prepare for the exam. Why wouldn't you use that? Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Because they're trying to help you. So the AICPA did just that. They took all of the topics they're going to be testing on and the exact representative tasks that they plan to ask you. There may be some variations, but it gives you a really good, clear picture on exactly what you need to know in each topic area. And why wouldn't you use that? I think it's interesting that they're not being communicated as well as maybe it's our job to communicate that to folks.
Well, that's what the AICPA has said. Yeah. It's the course providers that should communicate to that. In fact, they communicated it so well to us that when we wrote our books, we follow the blueprints. And I think I can say, without really saying it's a false statement, but we're the only books that actually follow the blueprints. All right.
Yeah, I think that's fairly accurate.
And the courses that don't, they say they're not important. All right. Now, if someone says to you they're not important, let me tell you something. There's something wrong there, because I get to meet, I think I've told you this 300,000 times. I meet with, in fact, I had lunch with the head of examinations. He was with me and my wife was with us. We had lunch in San Diego, and he
I
said
don't want to interrupt you, Phil, but if you're just joining us, go ahead and give us a like and tell us what exam parts you're studying for. If you have a test coming up, we want you to kind of interact with us here. We're happy to answer your questions.
But anyway, director of examinations, we're sitting across lunch, and he said to me, he gets calls at the AICPA. They get calls all the time. What should people study? How do you study for this? All right. And he's just amazed that, they don't know about the blueprints. So he has said people don't know about it. Now, the AICPA expects us, the providers, all right, which, maybe they should. I think they're really advertising it more. They're doing the webcast.
They are. I think that they're trying to, I think they've heard loud and clear that candidates don't really know about them. So they're trying to communicate that a little bit more. But I think that it's silly not to take advantage of them. As a candidate, I know that would be the first place I would look.
Yeah. And, they wouldn't have gone through the trouble of making these things up if they didn't feel it was important.
Exactly.
And, I'm just going to say it again, because I believe in, our function is to be upfront with people and, tell exactly. That's why we go to these meetings. All right. So if a course says to you that they're not important, all right, and they went to that meeting, they were either asleep.
I hope they were asleep.
By the way, at that meeting, they do provide refreshments.
That's good.
All right. And a lot of coffee. So if you get tired. All right. But no, I just find that, and then there's other, you want to call them providers. They also make that statement, but they're not approved, accredited course providers. They don't go to these meetings.
Yeah.
When someone doesn't want to do something, they'll say it's not important. All right. If any of you have children out there, okay. All right. I don't know if you ever hear this. You'll say, clean up your room. Child will say, it's not really important to do. All right. So all I'm saying is it is important. And the grades are coming out, right? They're coming out on the
8th. So this Thursday, they may last testing window or last score release for this Q1 testing window. They came out a little early. So we're fingers crossed that they may come out maybe a little, but we'll see. Usually it's midnight of that night. So on Wednesday night at midnight typically is when they'll postmate, but we'll see if they come out just a skosh early. But we have our fingers crossed for everybody. But one of the things I know that's important to get across, that if you do get a failing score, it's not going to be the end of the world. I know Phil did a Facebook Live a little bit earlier, but we wanted to kind of come on to, so what do you say to someone when they get their score and it's 74? Like, what do you tell somebody?
Well, generally I'll ask them if they have the diagnostic report, tell me what subjects you were weaker in than the other candidates. But let me clear up something that's a fallacy that people don't realize. If it says you were weaker in simulations, okay, that doesn't mean you don't know how to do a simulation. It means that you were weaker in the subject matter that the simulation was covering, all right? So going back and doing all these simulations that these courses provide, which are all author-constructed simulations, because the ICPA does not release them really to us. And, doing those is not going to help. What you have to do is this, all right? Here's what you have to know, all right? On the AICPA website, they give you examples of what the task-based simulations look like. If you're taking auditing, they have the document simulations, right?
They do. They have ones too that there's a really good one for the audit practice exam on the AICPA.org website. That's actually at the highest level of evaluation, which is only on the audit exam. They test at that high level. There's 4 different levels that they test: remembering and understanding, application, analysis, and evaluation. All the other 3 exams test the bottom 3 levels. Only audit tests at that evaluation level. And they have an example in their practice exam, practice test. It's not a full-length exam, but you'll get a sense for the level they're going to be testing and all the different documents you're going to have to look at. and decide what's important, what's not important, and then fill in the information that you're going to need to know to pass that question, to be able to fill in the rationale of why they're making a change to that account and all of those things with the documents they're providing. So it's a great thing to do.
And they show you examples on the ICP website of the simulations.
They do,
They're
yeah.
showing it to you so that you can see if you know that specific information. They're showing you that really as sort of like a template, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
right?
I would say that's a good way to put it. They're showing you the functionality of where to put the information, what you can expect, so it's not completely foreign when you get to exam day. You know, if there's a drop-down tab or if there's somewhere where there's a journal entry, you kind of understand where to put the information. So it just doesn't seem as unusual when you get there. And there's both versions. There's two different versions. There's one through the end of this testing window, the next 4 days. It's the old user interface. And then starting on April 1st, we're really excited. Microsoft Excel is now going to be integrated into the CPA exam. I know back when I took it, it hasn't been that long, but it's been a while. They still, you know, we always thought, wouldn't it be great if they had Excel? Wouldn't that be just the best? And they finally took that comment, that feedback from every candidate that's sat for the exam in the last 10 years, and they're integrating it. So if you're sitting for the CPA exam this year, you're going to be one of the guinea pigs on that, but they've done a lot of user interface testing. It's pretty streamlined. I think that you'll be excited to see that you can copy and paste in and out of it. It's kind of a nice feature, and it's very similar to what you're used to if you're using Excel for work. So I think most people will be excited to see that. But those practice exams, they have both types on the AICPA.org website, so you can practice both. There's some other changes to the user interface, but that's the major one that people who are taking the exam now probably will be surprised to see if they haven't been keeping up on the fact that the exam will have some changes to that look and feel on April 1st.
And by doing once again, simulations by the course providers, okay? They give you maybe 100 topics within the simulation, and you're missing the point of this, okay? If you just do those. First of all, the point is this. You know the template, how it works. Go to the AICPA website.
Yep.
All right. And then the pieces to the puzzle are the blueprints, okay? So instead of doing author-constructed simulations, and also by doing old multiple choice, all right, and that's the only one they release to us, the old questions.
Yep.
All right. And those are at a lower level, are they not, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of them are, because the test until last spring in April of 2017, they really weren't emphasizing the fact that they wanted to test critical thinking and these higher level skills, which is Bloom's taxonomy. So the higher level skills are going to be application, analysis, and evaluation. And those topics are harder to do. You have to know the subjects inside and out to be able to apply them at a high level, to be able to analyze them, evaluate different documents, and come up with the right answer. That's what they're expecting of a CPA. And so they're trying to formulate a test that gets people to think at that high level. They want CPAs to be smart. Their goal for CPAs is to be a trusted advisor. So they want people to come out of this exam knowing how to talk to people, learn what their problems are, and come up with the best information for their situation. And so that's what they're testing on this exam. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but it's hard for a candidate when they don't know what to study. And so that's why the AICP was like, hey, let's do a blueprint that tells them what to study and what level they're going to test at. So when you look at these blueprints, there's a whole column of what level it's going to be tested at. When it's a remembering and understanding question, it's going to probably be a multiple choice question. When it's up at the other levels, when it's up in evaluation, pretty much guaranteed that that's going to be tested at a task-based simulation level, question style. So just know those topics inside and out, because they're going to test them at a much higher level than they would IT, for example, it has a lot of remembering and understanding. They don't expect CPAs to be experts in IT. They want you to be able to communicate with people on IT teams, know the terminology, understand how things work, and not like go to the IT team and think it's a black box. So they want a general remembering and understanding level of IT. So that's why they don't test it at such a high level. But in audit, they want you to have the evaluation skills. So that's why they test it at a higher level in audit and a lot of those tasks. So,
one thing is, the people who do get scores they failed. It's like you said, it's not the end of the world.
no.
But I will ask them, by the way, did you follow the simulations? And they'll say to me, what? What simulation? Not simulations. You can follow the blueprints. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's in the afternoon here, okay? I closed down at 5. No, anyway, I say to them, did you study the blueprints? And they'll say, no, was I supposed to? Do you know what they are? No. And, that's the mistake. I mean, you're not studying the material they're asking you to study. If you use books that just cover topics, and there's no following of blueprints, then you don't want to, you're not going to pass. I mean, you might, just because they have to pass a certain percentage.
Yeah, well, I just generally think that if you're going into an exam, be as prepared as possible. And if they're giving you the information on how to prepare, use it. They're not doing it just for fun. They're trying to help candidates get through this exam and be better CPAs for it. They have tasks that folks in the industry expect of their entry level and second year candidates. And so they want to make sure that those skills are being represented on the CPA exam and that folks that are coming into the profession know how to do them. And it makes sense.
There is a shortage. There's a shortage of CPAs because people like myself, all right, are retiring. But unlike those other people, I will never retire. But no, the people are, 55 old, they're 55, they decide enough is enough, they retire. And those people have to be replaced, both in public accounting, private industry, even government.
So what do you think was the biggest reason you took the CPA exam to begin with?
I took the CPA exam. Now, first of all, when I came out of college, I was not going to go into public accounting. Because actually accounting was not my favorite subject. I majored in it, but it wasn't my favorite subject. So I actually started in a financial management trading program with General Electric. All right. Then after a while, I decided, and this is what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you the flexibility of having it.
Yeah.
I ended up going into public accounting for a while, and I left General Electric, and I still wasn't taking the exam. But I decided that I like to talk to people. All right. I'm more of a people type person. I like to talk to people. And I thought, well, what's the best way to do that? I know accounting, so I might as well take advantage of it. So I took a part-time teaching class at a university in New Jersey. And I decided, gee, this was really great. I really like this. So then I said, I need to go find a teaching job. So I went and found a teaching job, but I only had an MBA at that point. All right. I moved to Maryland, and they made me director of the accounting program. Okay. And I was just an MBA with accounting. So I figured, if I'm going to be director of this program, I better get the CPA. Okay. I got to go for it. Well, that was 7 years out of school. All right. And actually, in a way, it was good taking it a little older because I was more focused. I always felt the maturity helps too in many respects. I knew what I had to do. And you know what? I knew I had to give up things, and I set up a schedule, and I kept to that schedule, and I studied. And we didn't have blueprints. God, this is a gift.
Yeah.
Right? All we had was a content specification.
And I didn't have the blueprints either. I didn't take the exam yesterday, but I took it not too long ago, and I had the computerized test. There was another big testing change right when I was taking it. They were adding a ton of things that weren't on it previously. The review courses that I was using I wasn't sure if they were covering all the topics. I was concerned, I studied a ton, and I went in there and got a 74 on one of my parts. It was devastating. And I remember looking, I was working full time at the time. I was getting ready for busy season and trying to figure out, how do I fit this around my schedule and how do I fit this around my life? And it really is, like Phil said, you kind of have to carve out time in your day to commit to it. I can tell you, I don't know what I would do if I didn't get a CPA license. I love having a CPA, and it makes all of that studying worth it. Even if you don't think right away it will, once you take that test and pass, you don't ever have to take it again. You just do it once.
Yeah.
It's not like the bar exam where you have to take it in every state. You do this once and you put the time in and you do well. That's it. You will a CPA for life. You can do that. And the other thing I will say about that, I have people in my life system that, if you go through pilot training and you don't get your pilot wings, what was the point of going through pilot training? So I liken that to going through and getting your accounting degree. Why would you take the time, go through and get your undergrad and graduate degree in accounting and not go on to get your CPA license? It just seems like there's no reason not to do that. You have all the skills that you need, and maybe you just need a little nudge in the right direction. Maybe it's just sitting down and studying, but you can do this. Obviously, you can do this. And that's, I think, what people who drop out of taking the exam forget, that life gets in the way. And we talk to students all the time that they were studying for a little while and kind of fell off the wagon, lost a couple of parts and just got discouraged. And we talk to them and say, hey, why did you stop? What is it about the exam that scares you? And it's just, it's little things. So I think both Phil and myself, if you get back into a rhythm, into a study pattern, regardless of what your scores were this testing window, you can do this. Give yourself a year and a half and make it happen. But,
I'll just share one other thing. I lived in Colorado for a while. If I didn't have the CPA, I was, obviously I was certified at that point, but I decided, once again, I love to talk in front of people, all right?
No.
And I always wanted to be on the radio or cable television. So I was able in Denver, because I was CPA with the tax background I was doing at that time, I started a cable TV station on Financially Speaking. And I actually had a studio. It was really fun, a lot of fun. And then I was asked, all of a sudden I became an expert. All right. Everyone, I don't know what the definition of an expert is. I always said an expert is someone who people believe is an expert. And so I used to get calls from 2 radio stations in Denver, and I would give, advice, the change in the tax law or whatever. And thanks to that, obviously CPA review, and it's been a great ride. I've enjoyed it really tremendously. And it's given me a lot of advantages in life. And to the point that, I try to help philanthropically to certain charities. I really do. All right. And as a result of that, I've had the opportunity of meeting some real neat people. I back in November, I was over the Today Show, and I met Hoda Kotb and Savannah Guthrie. All right. A lot of fun. Very nice. And I'm trying to remember who I met. But the thing was, I like to meet celebrities.
Well, in addition to meeting celebrities, Phil, has the CPA really changed your life? Would you say that it has? And if you're just joining us, go ahead and tell us where you're from and if you have any questions for us.
Has it changed my life? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, this business has sent 2 kids to college. And, if you asked me at the age of 22 when I graduated in accounting, all right, who would have known? You don't know what's coming. But you know what? If some opportunity comes, all right, having the CPA, even though you may not be in the accounting field forever, having it could make a difference, whether you get that thing or not. And that's what it's done. So, no, I have to tell you, I didn't like accounting in college. I have to be honest with you. But the CPA certificate has helped me throughout my life. And, I'm getting a little older now, although, I just turned 32. Now, I mean, I've been in this business a long time. And, you know what? It keeps me young, talking to people. It really does. That's another thing. All right. Here's the advantage of being a CPA. I don't have to go retire and go and sit in a nursing home. Okay. I can still talk to people. And you know what? I really like that. And that's why I say, please send in topics, ask us questions, because I like to communicate with people. I really do. And, Megan's asking, and by the way, on the Facebook things we do, please send us things you want us to discuss. It would make our life a lot easier. Do you agree, Megan?
We want to know what interests you. What questions do you have about this exam? What are you worried about? We've been through it. I've talked to tons of candidates about their experiences. This is what we do. This is what we love. And we want to share these experiences with you, but we want to make sure that they're the things you want to hear about. So you need to tell us what those things are, and we will share them with you. So again, if you're just joining us, let us know what part of the exam you are sitting for. Do we
still have people actually still watching this?
I think there are a few that are jumping in and out of here.
Do you think we've spoken enough?
I think it's about that time. So again, if you have any questions for us, feel free on the replay to shout them out and we'll get back to you. Thanks for
joining. By the way, may I suggest this? If you are married, okay, all right, go to your spouse's wallets later tonight after they go to sleep, take out all the green bills and send it to me. No, just kidding. Actually, there was a comedian years ago called Soupy Sales. There was a comedian called Soupy Sales, and he used to do this kids show. It was beyond kids, let me tell you, the things he would say. But, one day he was on, it was out of New York. It was a local show out of New York City. And he would say, one night he did this. One day he said, now, kiddies, go to your parents' wallets tonight, all right, and send in that green stuff to me, take it out. And he gave his address, the TV stations, all right. It was actually Fox TV, but it wasn't Fox back then. Go to Channel 5 in New York, if you live in New York. Anyway, he got thrown off the air, unbelievable. And that actually hurt his career for about a year.
Well, Phil, we're going to take the hook out and pull you off the stage. How about that?
I just got hooked. I was just kidding. Just kidding, okay?
Just kidding. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Again, if you have any questions, thanks, Phil. We'll do this again sometime.
All right. And please check, we want to do more of these YouTube. Is this YouTube? No, Facebook. But please send us ideas. All right. Send us ideas. We don't want to feel like we're doing this just to hear ourselves talk.
Okay? All right. Sounds like a plan. Phil.
Take care. Have a nice evening.
You too. Thanks everybody for joining us.